All right, hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Sorry about my hair. I just got out of the shower recently, so gonna have to deal with it, I suppose. But anyway, I'm gonna be working on this card-based Autobattler that I've been working on this past week or so. I'm really enjoying prototyping this, especially using Cursor with the AI agent to get a lot of the work done. So I'm definitely going to continue this. I honestly think like this AI stuff, now that I've been using this AI agent and Cursor now for a couple days now, I really don't see myself going back to just writing out my code like a normal person. So yeah, we'll be continuing on with this and yeah, building out some more features for the prototype here. I think the main things that I need to do now with this prototype is I need to get some kind of game loop going where I can actually defeat the enemy boards. I need to build an inventory system. I think that's probably what will be the focus first. I need the inventory system before I can get a proper game loop built. So we're going to go ahead and do that probably. And I don't know if that's going to take that long, honestly. So yeah, I think that's what we'll do. But yeah, I need to get a proper game loop going where I can pull things out of my inventory, align them on the grid, and then defeat the enemies. And then when the enemy dies, set up a new enemy board to fight. And once that loop is in place, it should be easy to inject other sort of game events and whatnot. You know, the typical roguelike stuff. But before I get started, Gunforged is available for sale, so if you want to support my work, please consider doing so. It's $8.99 right now, but you can also wishlist it if you'd like to wait for a sale. And otherwise, I have my Udemy courses available for sale as well, so if you want to learn how to build a complete game in the Godot engine, you can go ahead and do that. Check those out as well. All of that support is greatly appreciated. So let's go ahead and get started here. Cursor is so great. Yeah, it really is. Welcome, Tyrell. It really is. I'm not going back to normal programming. It's just, not only does it make pretty good decisions, generally speaking, especially if you know how to guide it, but it just saves so much time. It just saves so much time writing stuff. So last night what I did, I was working and I had it create a shield ability and then also a shield status here. And it wrote this entire shield status for me with this absorb damage and then also updated the board damage method to subtract from the shield first. So like it did all of that with like one prompt and I made some minor tweaks. And the thing is too, you have to test it and sometimes it just won't work because the AI didn't do one thing correctly. So you do have to have an understanding of the code base, but yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, so let's get right into it. So there's actually two things that I want to do that I need to figure out before I can start building the game loop. So I want to do that inventory system. I probably will do that first on the stream here. We'll see how long that takes with the AI. The other thing I want to do is I need to have status indicators somewhere on the board. I might put the status indicators like up here or along the side. Maybe along the side would be better. But the tricky thing is that those are going to be on the UI layer, whereas the health bars are in sort of the game layer. So yeah, it's going to be, I still haven't figured out how my resolutions are going to work here. Because right now, in order to get like a chunky or like a bigger pixel effect, bigger pixels on the game here, I actually have the camera is zoomed in by a factor of 3 because the base resolution is 1280 by 720. And the reason I did that is so that I can have more UI density, more pixel density in the UI so that I can render things like the card inspector and put enough detail. So if I click on a card, I could put all this detail here. All this detail would be incredibly difficult to provide on a smaller screen, but I may still try to do that. I may still try to go to my classic, what is it, 640 by 360? Is that right? 640 by 360? Yeah. I may still try to do that and just like rework the UI to make it work, but one of the big problems with Gunforged and the UI there is that I didn't have any room. So I wanted to avoid that, especially since I'm going to be providing a lot of information about the cards, like the tags here and the preserve. Oh, this needs to be highlighted, I think. Hold on a second. The cat is licking the fireplace. Okay. One thing that I'm noticing here, though, is that this preserve here needs to be updated. So if I go to my damage, game constants, create color, BB code, yeah, I need this. If I go to my shield status, or shield ability rather, oops. This needs to be create color, BB code, preserve, and then this needs to be, I need to create public static read only color blue. I don't know what color it just filled in there. So we'll go ahead and fix this. Okay, and then we'll put this in here. Color blue. So the idea is that any status effect will have an explanation in the card inspector here. So it says adds 1 stack of preserve per ritual card, and then preserve provides protection from damage. So that's color coded there. And you can see that in here I have the same for damage and poison. Deals 1 damage, applies 2 poison, and then over here it provides a description of what exactly those things do. Okay, so that's a very minor change, but let's get into making some UI now. So fix some text highlighting. We got a quiet chat today. I know we got some lurkers. Welcome, lurkers. Lurkers are always appreciated. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the UI that I want to use for the inventory here. So I'm going to just start sticking this in the game UI here. And these buttons are going to have to be ugly for a little bit. These buttons are going to have to be ugly. Azir. So the button, we're just going to call this inventory for now. And how do I actually want this to work? This is a good question. Oh, this is a very good question. Ooh, this is a very good question. I might need to... Oh. My resolution stuff is going to present a problem here. You know what? Let's do something here. I'm just going to try this. Viewport width 640 by 360. I think that's 16 by 9, right? Pro tip, if you want to check if something is 16 by 9 really easily, just do 640 divided by 360. Do your width divided by height, and if you get this number, 1.7777, it's a 16 by 9 ratio. So that's correct. So I'm gonna just play with this for a second here, because this, if I can settle on this, what happened here? Oh, you know what? This is still not correct. Yeah, but look at how big that text becomes here. Is that right? No, that can't be right. Why is that so big? I'm doing something wrong. Is that right? Hold on a second. $640, yeah. How big are these? 54? It looks a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be. Well, let's see, I was using a scale factor of 3. Why is that so big? That doesn't look right at all. Do I have some kind of scale on this? Hold on a second. Let's go to this UI. I need to figure out this UI stuff actually, because as I start adding some UI elements, that's going to be a little bit tricky. Default font size. If I do 9, does that work? That looks a little bit more sensible. What font is this? Hold on a second. I gotta figure out what font this is. Chevy Ray Soft Square. Let me go ahead and find where that is. So I've got this Chevy Ray Pixel font pack. It comes with this README. I'm using Soft Square. Oh, it's not. Okay, so that makes sense. I thought the font was an 18 pixel font, but it's a 9 pixel font, and 18 is one of the multiples. So 9, that makes much more sense. So I may actually have room here. Let me go to my card inspector. Yeah, so this, we're going to reset that scale. We're going to reset the custom minimum size here. This title label, we're going to make this 18 instead of 32. This tag here, that needs to change, this tag label placeholder. Why is this so big? Okay. Let's see how that works. Actually, need to update this too. I may be able to get away with the lower resolution. I thought maybe I wasn't going to be able to, but this looks fine. That looks fine, actually. So, now the question is, though, what do I do with this? Because this seems too small now. I don't know, does this seem too small? This almost needs to be like, I still need to have the game camera zoomed in by 2. Oh, that doesn't work either. Oh boy. What am I gonna do? Yeah, I had to figure this stuff out. I like the card sizes. If I made the grid bigger, I'd have to redraw all the card art, and it would allow me to be more detailed with the card art, but I don't think I need to be more detailed. I think that's a good level of detail here. Problem is just too small. So if I do, I mean, I could do maybe just go down 320 by 180, but that might not have enough UI room now. Yeah, that's too small. Yeah, I'm kind of in a pickle here. I'm in a little bit of a pickle. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to have the inventory, like an inventory button up here that I could click. That would just open up the inventory on the right-hand side of the screen, then you could drag things over. Honestly, the way that I had it before, oh man. Let's change this back to viewport. Is that too small? I mean, that's the question. Let me try it with, let's not embed the game here. Maybe it's not too small, because when you're playing it full screen, this is like a 1920 by 1080 window. I'm on a 1440p screen here. This might actually be okay, and one benefit of this actually is that I could use the extra space actually, and I could just have the inventory open all the time. And I would have room to put like stats and stuff. This might not be too small. I actually think that everything's fairly readable here. And this also enables like a lot of grid expansion here. Well, you know what I'm gonna do? And I have enough room to do the card inspection as well. I have enough, it seems like I'll be able to do everything in the UI I need to do. Here, like this is fine. It's just a full screen inspection. I need to turn those paddings down, reduce the outline size of that thing, reduce the V spacing here. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's just commit to this for now. And then I will redo it all later if it's not working. Unfortunately, the AI cannot help me make these kinds of decisions. I don't think. I don't know what it would do, but that's fine. So we'll do 9. So we'll just turn down these VBox containers. VBox containers. I need to practice my enunciation. VBox containers, and then this card container here. Yeah, we want to do, so let's go back to my card inspector. I removed that card scale, but I think setting that to 2 is going to be appropriate. Let's remove, or not remove, but let's go to wherever this tag label is. Style box texture, what is this? So show this in file system. Let's open this. Thin that back out. And then in here, I don't think these need to be 3 pixels. This could be 2. And then the margin container here. Let's just get rid of all the margins. Actually, 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, so probably do need some margins here. That'll work. Okay, so that looks better. Skeleton warrior poison. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a gander at how that looks. Hello, Snot Bill. Thank you for the IDR 10,000. Always very generous. Thank you, thank you. Very much appreciated. Of course, we got the message Yummers. Thank you. Welcome back to the stream. It's always good to have you here, Snot Bill. So now if I do this, yeah, this looks fine. If I do end up having a lot of abilities here, I can just pretty easily add a scroll bar or something, but there's a lot of room, actually. Like, there's a whole bunch of space here. So I don't even think I'd need to add a scroll bar in many cases. This padding on the left needs to change, this HBox container. Let's just turn that down to 16 instead. That looks much nicer, yeah. Okay. Okay, let's roll with it. So now instead of the game UI being here, or this inventory button here, let's just get rid of that. Okay. So before I go any further, let's rework UI stuff. That's exciting. I finally made a decision on that. Okay, now we can start on the inventory. So now this is actually going to work pretty nicely, I think. Because what I can do is I can go ahead and create a player inventory. I don't know exactly how that's going to look, but let's just go ahead and create a new 2D scene. Call it player inventory. We'll just stick it in there for now. Let's go ahead and create a... How do I want to do this? Do I want to do a margin container here? Do a margin container. Let's make it 18 by 4 or 18 times 5. And then let's do, wait, this needs to be a minimum size. 90. Okay, and then this, let's just make it, what is it, 640 by 360? Yeah. Okay, and if I instantiate a board in here, let's make this actually, let's do one more 18 there. And then the board. Okay, so I'm going to need to genericize this a little bit. The idea is that the inventory is 27. The idea is that the inventory here, sorry, I'm getting distracted. My mind is going 1,000 different places at once right now. Okay, so the idea is that the inventory here is going to be a grid just like anything else. So I actually need to genericize this board here. So this is where I need to be able to modify the size of the tile map here. But let's just get this slapped into the run manager here. So instantiate player inventory. We'll just put this here, I suppose. So there's my inventory. We're going to take the player board and enemy board, and we're going to bring these over. Obviously, this is all work in progress, but enemy board can go all the way over here. I'll work out the spacing, the exact spacings there. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it's not quite There's like 2 extra pixels here, but that's fine. I think my snapping is correct. 9 pixels by 9 pixels, yeah. So let's just see what that looks like. Okay, so there's a couple of things that needs to happen. So I need to be able to control the board size, which is going to be useful for gameplay purposes, but also for the inventory, because I need to start with a certain inventory size. So the inventory will just grow around here. The inventory obviously is not going to have a health bar because it's not going to be combat enabled. So there's a bunch of things that actually need to happen here. So there's going to be quite a bit of refactoring going on. But the idea is that I'm going to be able to drag cards from the inventory onto the board. And then my inventory is going to be the way that I can hold on to cards. But the inventory is going to be a board itself. So you're still going to have to play like inventory Tetris. So because the interesting thing about these kinds of games is that the power of an item is kind of directly related to how much space it takes up on a board. So if you want to store a bunch of powerful items in your inventory, you're only going to be able to store a handful of them. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at this now. Hello, Gregors. I hope I said your name correctly. How are things going with you last game? Happy with the sales? Yeah, I'm going to be doing... I actually recorded a video on how Gunforge was doing, but I don't like how it turned out, so I need to re-record it. But I will be doing like a how much money did my indie game make kind of video, where I'll be sharing the exact numbers and everything. But I am happy with it. It'll be nice. I should be able to comfortably... I don't know, I just had to do all my taxes and stuff, and I should be able to comfortably go the rest of the year, but I don't know that for sure. There's a lot of unknowns here. Yeah. Anyway. It's good. Hello, Dione. Hello, Luca. Welcome back. Splat, good to see you again. I'm doing well. How are you doing? So yeah, that is the basic setup here. All right, so first things first, here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to create a new branch, and I'm going to call this inventory. Let's do initial inventory work. I'm just going to publish this right now, and then we're going to ask the AI to do a bunch of stuff. Okay, so I need to be able to dynamically change the... Let's do this. Layer board, tile map layer. Private tile map layer. Huh? Oh, it's already up here. Why is that already up here? I need to be able to change the grid cells in the tile map layer. I need to be able to specify an initial grid size, but I also will want to be able to specify individual cells to add to the grid. In other words, the grid represented by tile map layer will not always be a quadrilateral and can have arbitrary cells added to it. The tile map layer cells should be filled in based on configuration in board inventory component. Board inventory component is the logic that drives the board. So any resizing logic should be done in board inventory component, and board should respond to those changes by updating tile map layer visuals. Okay. From what I see, you stick to C#. I'll remember you considered GD script for next game. Yeah, I decided to stick with C# because I have so many utilities built up that that I use that just increase my productivity, and so it's actually fortunate because I'm sure that well, I shouldn't say that I'm sure, but I suspect that these AI agents are better at doing C# than GD script. Although I'm sure they're probably pretty good at GD script, but I would expect there to be a lot more training data on the C# stuff. So, yeah. Do you use Copilot? Yeah, I'm using a Cursor with Claude 3.7 Sonnet. Yeah, it is Claude. Yep. Yeah, I was talking. I'll share the story again. I was talking with a coworker who's in the sort of, I don't know if you'd call his company a startup, but it's definitely like a mid-sized company. Does, you know, tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue every year. I don't know exactly. I'd have to ask him, but his whole engineering department basically is using these AI tools. And he was telling me about how two guys on their team were using Cursor, the Cursor AI agent. They migrated 100,000 lines of code in 2 weeks. Two guys did it. And it's like, okay, that was kind of the push that I needed to realize, like, okay, you know, these tools are for real now, you know? All right, so let's take a gander at what it did here. Oh, I just clicked a wrong button. I think that's okay. I don't think it knows anything about my tile map. Anyway, let's take, so grid changed event handler. Initial grid size equals default grid size. Okay. So it's returning a get valid grid cells, configure grid size, reset grid, add grid cell, update board dimensions, grid changed, very nice. If valid grid cells changed equals true. Why is that? Remove grid cell. Okay. Clear grid. It added a clear grid. I don't think that's necessary. So we're going to tell it to, we're going to get rid of that clear grid. We don't want that. Reset grid, setup grid. What does that do? Update board dimensions. mathf.max board width, board height. Let's change this to mathf. Initial grid size, cool. Grid changed, perfect. We'll get rid of this. We don't want reset grid, I don't think. Configure grid size. Where is this used? We don't want that either. It adds a bunch of stuff, but that's fine. So let's tell it this looks like there's some redundant code in here. So let's go ahead and tell it redundant code between add grid cell and add grid cells. Make add grid cells. Make add grid cell call add grid cells with a single entry array. There we go. So this just becomes a helper method now where it just constructs an array with that single element and then it pipes into the add grid cells here. So very important, I think, to have all of your code go through the same functions if possible, same methods. Recalculate board dimensions, get card at cell, remove grid cell. What are you doing? Recalculate board dimensions, update board dimensions. Use let's do this. Use a rect2 for updating board dimensions. That's not exactly what I was thinking. That's not exactly what I was thinking. What are you doing? Okay, we're gonna stop this. We're gonna go back to that checkpoint. Update board dimensions. Okay, let's do this. Use a rect2 for storing board dimensions. When updating the dimensions, use the merge function on rect2. Replace board width and board height properties with a dimensions rect2. We all click a wrong button every now and then. You're forgiven. This sounds cool. Yeah, it is. I see AI like a difference between rowing on a calm lake and rafting. For sure, waves are faster now, but it's a disastrous thing if you don't know how to direct the boat. Yes, that's true. Yeah, it's definitely like I'm having a good time with it because I can review the code that it's writing and I can go, that doesn't really make sense the way that it approached that. I can direct it to do it in a more sensible way. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. No, I did this wrong again. Vector 2 for storing. Tile ID. I need to figure out what my tile ID is. Grid tiles. Let's see, this is probably tile ID 0. Source 0, alternative 0, atlas coordinates. Set cell source ID 0, Atlas coords. It's clearing the tile map layer every time. That's fine. So let's accept those. Update tile map visuals. That works. Board inventory component grid changed on grid changed. That's perfect. Tile ID. I actually don't care about that. I don't want that. We're just gonna hard code 0 in there. I could put that in a constant, but it certainly doesn't need to be configurable through the editor. Okay, so I think the board is fine. Let's take a look at what it's done here. Okay. I don't think this get board dimensions is used anywhere. Again, it's just adding stuff that it doesn't need yet, so we'll get rid of that. Okay, so the next thing that I want to try is, first I should see if this even works, so I should run the game. Can't understand my own code, how can I expect to understand AI-generated code? Yeah, that is a problem. Actually, I think it's going to be very hard, like, for junior developers, I think, especially because... yeah, like all the senior developers are just going to be able to go and start using the AI tools because they know how to read the code and they know how to design the systems and they can direct the AI, but junior developers are going to kind of be in a bad spot because they need to learn what the code is doing. But if all these companies start moving toward, we want quote unquote vibe coders, yeah, junior developers are going to be in a tough spot, I think. But anyway, so that seems to be working. At least it's not breaking. So let's see now what happens. So I'm going to just go ahead and stage these changes. What happens if I go to my player inventory here? Let's add a script for this. Hello, Aniki, welcome back. Great to see you. Hello, Neozoid. It's going great. Good to see you as well. So let's see here. Game, what is this supposed to be? Gameplay. Let's go ahead and do this. So we got the player inventory here. We've got the board. The board inventory component. Node, board inventory component. Using game component. We don't want on-grid changed. We want override void ready. Let's do this. Oh no, this has to be board. Board inventory component dot. What is the method that it called? Remove grid cell, update board dimensions. Well, I guess what I could do actually is maybe I don't need to do this through code just yet. I think what I'll do is I should be able to, let's build this. Wasn't there a way to set the default dimensions? Anyway. I think what I want it to do is here. Create a method in @board inventory component that accepts a vector 2 and sets the board to the dimensions represented vector 2. So we're going to create a method in board inventory component. Why do you keep adding that? That's very annoying. There's no clear grid. Oh, it keeps thinking, okay. It keeps, because I deleted the clear grid manually, so it keeps thinking that there's a clear grid in here. I'm sure I'm going to need that at some point, but let's just keep this here. Why did it move it? I like to keep my public methods together, thank you. So I'm just going to try this. So in here, set board dimensions. Let's do 5 and 5. I'm curious to see if that's going to work. Object reference not set to an instance of object because I need to mark this as a unique name. Hello, Brekek. You got me trying out Cursor and it's been pretty solid so far. Yeah. Yeah, I think that, like I said before, I think that this is the time. Ooh, look at that. It worked. I think that this is the time to start adopting the AI tools. Like, they're useful enough now. They're useful enough now where, like, I think now is the time to start getting familiar with them and start getting proficient with them because they're only going to get better. Like, I think right now feels like the time where using AI is more productive than counterproductive for writing code. So yeah, I think it's a good idea. And that's just not me saying that. That's, again, a former colleague of mine. I was talking to him and he said, yeah, he's actually, their whole engineering department at his company is actually using these tools. And this is somebody who was an AI skeptic who was kind of like, you know, he's been in engineering for a while. And he's like, yeah, like right now I'm totally not a skeptic anymore. Like, there's no way to write code other than this now. So I'm just passing along what I learned, and I'm gonna get familiar with the tools too, because I think that's just the next natural progression of the industry, I guess. Also, I can make my game prototype so much faster. Okay, so let's see if we can get this thing to do something tricky here. So these corners, corner, node, private, sprite 2D, corner, top left. Look at that. It filled out all that stuff. Even just something like that is like, I didn't have to type all that stuff out. It saved me like 30 seconds. Okay, so let's do a new chat here. Let's see. Okay. When the board is resized, the corner top left, corner top right, corner bottom left, corner bottom right, sprite 2Ds need to have their positions adjusted such that they are at the corners of the grid area. Can we all do this in the free tier of VS Code AI tools available? I'm not familiar with VS Code's like Copilot and everything. I don't know what the conditions are for doing that, but Cursor has a free trial you can use, and otherwise it's $20 a month. All right, let's see if that worked. Look at that. So this is my inventory. It's a little bit messy here, but yeah, the inventory is working great. So I'm actually going to go, let's accept those. So the inventory here, player inventory, let's set the dimensions to 3 instead so we can see it easier. I got to figure out what to do about this health bar here. So yeah, there's my inventory though. Okay, so we got to figure out what to do about that health bar now. I probably do want to have like a clear grid going to go to the board inventory component. Board, let's create a new chat. Board inventory component. Add a clear grid method that resets. As appropriate. So we're going to update the dimensions as appropriate. And then in here, in call clear grid in set board dimensions. It kind of works as a search engine too. I spent much less time searching Google than I did before AI. Great for planning, designing, and learning what you need to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And a cursor is nice because you can actually do a web query. So if you do @web, and you can you could basically tell it, hey, go to the web and search for answers, and it will come back with a bunch of links that you can go and read if you want. Do you see this cat? What are you doing? What are you doing? Hmm? What are you... He's cute. What are you doing? Okay, I think that's fine. I'll just give it another run here and make sure. And then we're going to ask the AI what to do about this health bar here. Okay, so let's see. So we'll commit that. Okay. Create a new chat. I need to be able to designate a board as a player inventory board, which is a way for the player to store cards that are not going to be participating in combat. Let's also add board to this. Oops, stop. Cards are not going to be participating in combat. A board that is designated as an inventory board should not have a health bar visible. Okay, we'll just try this. We'll just try this. Register turn manager. Why is it changing that? Why is it changing that? I think I'm calling these explicitly, so I don't need to worry about this. So I'm actually going to tell it to reject that. Register turn manager damage. None of these are necessary. Oh, it's still going. I'll let it finish, I suppose. Oh, it's already adding a method to transfer cards between players' combat board and inventory board. Oh my goodness. I don't know if I'm going to like this solution, but we'll see. It's writing everything for me. All right, let's take a look at these changes here. So that looks fine, so we'll accept that. Is inventory board, we'll accept those things. Set process input is player controlled. Notify ability executed, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. I mean, I understand it's trying to be extra safe, but none of these things are going to be called if it's not hooked into the turn manager, which it's not going to be. Is this going to end up being used anywhere? It's not, so we don't need this. Transfer card 2. Where is this being used? It just wrote a bunch of methods that it's not using, so we're going to delete those. Populate player inventory. This is actually going to be useful. Actually, you know what? Let's just reject that. Let's reject that. Probably will want a reference to that, so we'll take that. Turn executor component. Oh, I rejected those changes already. Okay. Board inventory component, get card top left position. Okay, so we're going to be a little bit more iterative about this. Transfer card 2. So I like the idea of having this. I like the idea of having transfer card 2. However, I don't want any logic in the board class since it's purely visual and input handling. Move any card transferring logic to board inventory component. Are you planning to add multiplayer support in this one? No, I don't think so. I think the only way to really do multiplayer on this would be to basically make it like the Bazaar and make it like an asynchronous multiplayer game, which would be really interesting. There could be like a quasi multiplayer, which would be interesting. It would be interesting if kind of like a Dark Souls kind of thing where maybe there could be a roguelike encounter that is fight a player board. So basically, as the players are playing the game, their board configurations get sent to some kind of server or database or whatever, and then any other player that's playing could have the option of fighting a player board, and then it like pulls that configuration from the database and like uses it in the game. That would be kind of interesting, because it would be kind of like a quasi multiplayer, but not really, because there wouldn't be any interaction between the two players. It'd basically be like a Dark Souls Ghost, right? Like, oh, here's a board that a player played, and it could have extra rewards because it could be assumed that player boards are more difficult. Of course, there's cheating concerns, though. You know, people who are modifying their local game, and then that data gets sent, and then you end up facing a board that's just impossible to beat because somebody hacked it to be 500,000 damage or whatever. But it is an interesting idea. Just add like light touch sort of multiplayer elements to it. That would be super cool. not planning on doing that. Okay, so what did it do here? So board, turn executor component. Why does it keep doing that? It keeps trying to, I think it's not handling the rejections well. Okay. Target inventory vector to target position. Cool. Is there any reason why these can't be merged? Okay. Now here's what I'm going to do. Well, let me think. I should probably... Okay, let's create a new chat now. I'm going to stage what I've got. I don't know why it keeps adding the public method to the end. Okay, hold on. I will fix that in a second here. So we actually haven't gotten that much done yet because I think I'm still trying to figure out what prompts work the best for this stuff. But let's go ahead and stage those changes. I've created a new chat, so what happens? Add logic for drag and dropping cards from the player controlled board and the board that represents the player inventory. I'm going to rename this to is player inventory board. I should be able to freely take cards from one board and place it in another. In the other. So it found the board inventory component. Also, if you're familiar with Clash Royale, I'm imagining the battles here took inspirations from that. It would look very cool. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with Clash Royale, no. I am not. So it registers the player inventory board, get player inventory board, source board, find source board. Okay. We'll go through the changes here as soon as it's done. We'll go through the changes as soon as it's done. Okay, so let's take a look. So it's registering a player inventory board. Is this being called anywhere? Yes, that's being called in the Okay, that's good. So that's all happening in the run manager. So that's tying everything together. This get board is never used, so it just added that for no reason. Actually, I'm just gonna reject that there. Okay, so board, run manager. So what else is in here? Find source board. So let's just try to understand what's going on. So it's gonna register the player board, get player inventory board. Is this used anywhere? No. Okay, so try drop card is gonna find the source board for the card stats. And it's basically just going to look, it's going to look at the player inventory board and see if that card is on the board. I don't like that it's using this method to determine that. Yeah. So I'll tell it to change that real quick. But that makes sense. So it's trying to figure out which board the card belongs to. And once it figures out which board it belongs to, it's got the source board here. It will try to place the card at the position of the board inventory component that's owned by this board. But if the source board is different than this, and the source board inventory component has that card, try place card at position. Okay. Source board. Okay. Oh, I see. So when it tries to drop a card, it's going to see, gotcha. I actually don't think that this is going to work. This looks wrong to me. But let's go ahead and accept that. Let's accept that. Okay. One thing I want to do before I test this, I don't think that that logic is going to work, this source board logic. But let's go ahead and do this. I don't like how get card top left position is being used to check for the existence of a card on a board. Add a method to board inventory component called has card that can do this check, and then call get card top left position as necessary afterwards. How many usage you have of Claude AI? I mean, is there any limit? It's hard to determine. I've currently used 156 out of 500 of my premium requests. And premium requests are basically like fast requests, I guess is what they're called. But if you pay the $20 a month for Cursor, my understanding is that you get unlimited slow requests. So after you've used up your premium requests, you can still use requests. It's just that they will be slightly slower. But you can also enable pay-as-you-go pricing. So once you hit your 500 limit premium request, you can actually have it bill like pay-as-you-go afterwards if you want to keep the premium requests. So let's accept that. Why is it calling set process input here? Why is it registering a target board here? I don't understand that either. Okay. let's make get card top left position return a non-nullable value. Okay, I'm gonna stop this actually. Assume that the grid, that card top left cells contains the card stats object coming in. So basically what we're going to have to do is just make sure that the grid has the card before we call get card top left position. So that'll just clean up things nicely. So we'll just accept all there. Okay, so now let's actually try and see if the try drop card works. I don't think it's going to work. I'm suspicious of this logic in here. I don't think that this logic works, but we're going to give it a shot. We're going to give it a shot. Cannot match member player inventory board to any member in run manager. Oh, player inventory. Right, because this is actually a player inventory object. So we'll go here. This is a player inventory, which is going to break. So what I'm going to do in here is I'll make this public. Public board get private set. Here, player inventory dot board. Okay. See what that does. Okay, so the drag and drop is not working at all. Let's go ahead and figure this out. So where's try drop card being called? If is action release, action click left, try drop card, you get mouse grid position. Dragon card, get tree, get nodes and group card. First to default, X is dragging. Dragon card equals null. So find source board. If board inventory component has card stats, so it's checking the board that is handling the input here. I think what's happening, hold on, let me think about this. I think what's happening is that this input is being handled by every board on... Yeah, so let's go ahead and create a new chat here. Do I want to stage these things? I think so. So let's create a new chat. Let's just say, okay. So the input method is handled by all boards. Make sure to only call try drop card on the board that contains the mouse position. Is that, I mean, yeah. So we basically only want to call try drop card on the board that's actually being dropped. And then we can handle the source board stuff, which I'm still not sure about. Get valid grid cells, is that right? Oh, mouse grid position, get mouse grid position. Right, okay, yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect, thank you. We can combine this. Okay, so let's just see if that minimal change has worked. I doubt it, because I still think that that logic for determining the source board is wrong, but yeah, so this is not actually working anymore. So this, where am I at? Board, try drop card. So in here, this method appears not to be working. When try drop card is called for a board that is hovered by the mouse, we need to check, we need to get the board from which the card is being dragged. To remove the card from its source board and place it in the board that's hovered, but only if there is space available for the card on the hovered board. Try place card at position will return true if there is space. Fix the try drop card method to properly account for, to, I don't know, make drag drop work properly. You know what it's probably not doing? It's not snapping the card. Maybe the issue is that it's just not snapping the card. Oh yeah, transfer card 2. Yeah. Transfer card 2, that's exactly right. Okay, so if source board is equal to this, then we can just do try place card at position. That makes sense. Card is on another board. Camp transfer card 2, dragging card to card stats board inventory component at position. If board inventory component, yeah, that makes sense. Return card to original position on the source board. Get card top left position, try place card at position. Okay. So I don't think it's actually updating the card position. So let's accept those changes. But it doesn't, I don't see anywhere where it's actually updating the position of the card. Actually, let's see. Try place card at position. Emit signal card placed. Is this being used anywhere? On card place. Snap card to grid. Okay, yeah, I think I need to update this. Update this snap card to grid such that it properly fetches the grid top left position based on which grid it belongs to. I think that logic is probably wrong. Find source board if board is not equal to null. Global position plus grid position times card stats. Wait, changes look good, but I realize there's a logical issue when snap card to grid is called. The card has already been placed on the current board, not the source board. What? Why is that a logical problem? What? This is not a logical problem. Currently belongs to, you should assume that all data is up to date and that it just needs to be properly aligned to its grid position. So we're just going to revert all those changes. It went off on a tangent. Nice to see the grind continues. Yeah, much less of a grind now that I've got an AI servant. Okay, that's basically all that I was looking for. So when snap card to grid is called, what's going to happen is it's going to look at the grid that it currently belongs to. So it's going to find the source board. And then if it finds the board, it's just going to go ahead and snap that. And it's calling end drag here. Does it need to do that? I don't think it needs to call end drag. I don't think that's necessary. Okay, let's see if all those things have fixed the issue now. Nope. It's still not working. Oh, AI. Let's see if this snap card to grid is even being called. Yeah, on card place is actually never being called. Why is that never being called? I guess this logic is probably wrong. Let's make sure find source board makes sense. If board inventory component has card, is player controlled and... Oh, you know what? You know what I probably never did? Is player inventory board and is player controlled. I think both of those need to be on. Okay, but it still doesn't explain the snapping. Let's do this. gd.print sourceboard.name. I'm going to rename this to... Oh, I can't rename that. Okay, well, let's see. Oh, AI, yeah. I think there's probably just a really subtle issue here that I need to figure out. Okay, so it's not even... Object reference not set to instance of object. So this find source board is never... The unfortunate thing about cursor is I can't do C# debugging. Is player controlled and player inventory board and board inventory component as card. Target board. Why is... No, I don't... That was probably the problem. Okay. there is a bug here where target board doesn't get set for the is player inventory board. This is intended. Target board. Target board is for deciding the enemy board to target. Find source board needs to be updated such that the player inventory board has a reference to the player controlled board. Look at how the relationship is set up between player controlled board and player inventory board in at run manager and model your solution after that. It's a little bit messy, but you know, still faster than I would do it. Seems your rules aren't auto added. Yeah, I'm done trying to figure out why that's not working. I'm done. I'm assuming it's a cursor bug or something. Okay, so let's accept all. So basically just setting up a two-way relationship between those boards. Okay, now we're getting errors. That's good. $162 it said. Okay, so now let's say, great. However, maybe, hold on, let me check something. Maybe I should, in this, not do is player controlled. Why is this not working? How hard is it to get this logic to work, AI? Come on. You know what? Maybe that's just a problem. Hold on. Maybe it's just a problem with this setup. I wonder if... It's because the cards are never being added properly. So let's do this. Player inventory board. I wonder if it's just because those are never being configured properly. Let's try this instead. Yeah, okay, so those were... Oh, now it can't. Now it's not working. Okay. So maybe let's try this. Put is player controlled on that as well. So I should be able to drag between both. There we go. Okay, so it's just a problem of those cards were basically coming from the ether. And I will need to handle that though. So, okay, yeah, so I think I know how to direct it now. So I figured out the issue. Those cards, it's making the assumption that the cards are in a board somewhere. So what I need to do is I need to tell it that, okay, this find source board has a minor bug, which is that it needs to be able to support cards that don't currently belong to a board. In other words, cards that aren't currently on a board need to be supported when being dropped onto a player board or player inventory board. Handle cards that don't currently belong to any board. Sweet. Okay. So now I'm actually going to go back to what I was doing in my run manager here. Let's just go ahead and add all these cards. Zoop. Okay. Bam, bam, boop, bam, 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 bam. Is that annoying? Oh, that's not working for some reason. Why is that not working? Sometimes it just doesn't work. Let me go and look at my board inventory component. Card placed. So try place card at position. Actually, I should pay attention to those logs real quick. So let's see. Source board should be null. Let me shrink this down. Source board should be null. Player board. Why does it say the source board is player board? That doesn't seem right. Oh, that's because it's just going to return. Okay. Okay, so let's see. What happens if I... Oh, I'm getting lost in my windows. Okay, here we go. Oh, is it not clearing? Oh, you know what it's not... You know what it's doing? It's not clearing... Okay. Let's see. I think there's a slight bug in transfer card 2, which is that the board inventory component is not clearing the cells that belonged to the card that got transferred. Verify that this is indeed an issue and fix if necessary. Bam. Okay, I think that's pretty much the issue. This is fun. Just blowing through these changes here. So if I put this here and I move this back and then I put this here. Yeah, so that was the problem. It was detecting that those cells were still occupied, and that's why it was rejecting the placement. Okay. So, one more thing we want to make the AI do. Let's actually commit this. So, transferring cards between player-owned boards. So there's one thing that I want to do with it now, which is that I want it to, if a card, so let's see. If a card is dropped outside of any board, it should have its position reset back to its last valid position. You shouldn't need to update any data, just snap it back to the cell where it belongs. This looks great. However, the card may not belong to any board when it is dropped. For example, when a card is being given to the player and has not yet been placed on a board, make sure to support resetting position in this case as well. There's an error here, so I'm going to make it review its changes. Oh. Fix this original position error. Sweet. Let's see if that worked. Look at how fast I got all this grid functionality built out. Oh, that didn't work. Why is it calling transfer card to... board.cs 298. Source board not equal to null. Huh? It is null. What? Why does it think it's source? What? What? Why does it think it has a source board? That's interesting. Oh, now it doesn't. Why does it think that? Wait a minute. No, this card does not belong to... So find source board is returning a board even for cards that aren't yet owned by a board. Fix this as necessary and address any side effects throughout board. So I think it added this in here for some reason. I don't remember why it added that before. Yeah, okay, here. If source board equals null. Okay, I think that's... Can place card at position. I think this is redundant. This can be if not. And then this could be actually be further simplified. Okay, so yeah, that was fixing a different issue, but now that it's explicitly handling the null case, this should be fine. So I do this, bam, it resets. I should be able to drag this onto a grid. It's not working. Why is it not working all of a sudden? I guess I'm just playing whack-a-mole with these errors now. Source board, so this should be null. Board inventory component. Try place card at position. Let me make sure it's actually getting into this. gd.print board in name. So try drop card is only going to be handled by the board that currently owns the mouse position. So that's board, that's fine. Null reference exception. Board inventory component. Wait, why is that null? Am I reading this error wrong? 188 in board. 188. Let's take a look. Source board, board inventory component. Why is that there? Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Wait. Oh, I see. I know why I can't merge these. I see. This needs to catch all cases where source board is null. Okay. That's why. It was continuing on with that method. So that source board equals null needs to be a catch-all. This is still not working though. What the heck? Why is this not working? This should say player board when I drag over to the player board here. Oh, it's not saying anything. Well, that would be the problem. I wish I could step through this. It must not think that the source board is null. Let's see. What is this? No. I think that was added by mistake. I think that's what's causing the issue. I must have missed that part. I don't know when that was added. I should go back to the history. No! Stop! Okay, I'm just playing whack-a-mole with these issues now. Fix one thing, it breaks something else. So I need to figure out why it's... Basically this, when it gets released, I think that's probably what this was fixing. This little thing here. Reset dragon card position. Yeah. So this actually needs to be... Let me, here's what I'll do. I'll put this back. This is the source of that issue. So this is that little else statement is the reason why that is getting snapped back, because this is being processed. This input is being processed by all boards. So there is a bug here. So I'm going to tell this thing, there is a bug here in the else conditional, which is that all board handle input. The else conditional is trying to handle the situation where a card is dropped outside of a board and the expected behavior is that the dragon card position gets reset. However, this is a bug if there is a board that successfully executed try drop card. Fix this code such that the error, the bug is no longer present. I like how it verifies that it understands the issue. Oh. Oh, you're not going to find any results there, my friend. It's trying to check if the correct way to check if an input event is handled. Time to take a step back and start over for when it's this kind of logic problem. Yeah, I mean, I think I understand what the issue is here. I fixed the issue. When a left click is released, we first check if there's a dragon card. If the mouse is over the board, we call try drop card to handle the drop. To mark the input as handled, preventing other boards from processing. If the mouse is not over this board, but is the player controlled board, that is not going to work. This is not going to work because the order of boards handling input is not guaranteed. So the issue could still be present. Yeah, we'll get it eventually. I'm going to make it do some thinking. I mean, this is kind of a tricky problem. It might be a better idea to create like a card, some kind of third node or some kind of node that sits above these things that can manage the interactions between the boards. That is not a great solution. I don't like this solution. Might need to create some kind of third node that's like a card coordinator that can handle the interactions here. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Oh. Is action released. So what it's doing is it's getting nodes and group card, get the dragon card. Check if the board is over any. Did it make this public? Oh no, it doesn't need to make it public. Right. Get the board under the mouse. Try drop card. Yeah. If not, is player controlled return. That makes sense. Actually, this is redundant because this input only gets processed for player controlled boards. So that's redundant. Let's see. So it's getting all the boards. It's finding the first board where the mouse is over the board. That's fine. If it's not null, it's going to call try drop card. Otherwise, it's going to reset the dragon card position. That is a much more elegant solution. Thank you. However, this needs another conditional, which is that b.is player controlled, because the enemy board is going to be added there too. So we just need to filter out for player controlled boards and it mouses over board. Okay, let's see if that fixes it. Oh no. Now it's just completely broken. Now the dragging doesn't work. What the heck happened? I'm trying to see if this drag and snap card to grid. Oh, that might be a problem. Shoot. I don't think try place card at position. I don't think that this ever... This never updates the dragging state, I don't think. I think there's a bug in at board, which is that it seems like the card drag is never ended. It's never ended if try place card at position is successful. is this true? And if so, fix it. I have no clue if this is going to work. Stage those changes before it makes changes. Okay, well, there's a way to simplify that, I'm sure, but I'm just going to see if this works. Is it working? Oh my gosh, it's working. Look at that. So now I can't drag cards off of a grid once they've been dragged onto a grid. Everything seems to be being cleared and their states being updated and everything. I can't place a card there. I can't place a card there. I can rework this though to get that. Yeah, I think this is working. Okay, I think that's working. It's a little bit messy, but seems to be okay. All right, fix bugs with drag and drop. Woo! Still got that done in record time. That would have taken me forever to do myself. The nice thing is I don't have to think through the logic so much. I can just look at the logic the AI writes and just kind of verify that it makes sense. You have more patience than I were working with AI. I usually have to dumb it way down to explain what I'm looking for. Oh. I mean, I guess the Claude 3.7 Sonnet model seems to be really good. I don't know. I don't have to... I don't feel like I really have to fight with it that much, you know? Sometimes it does, like, remarkably stupid things, but just being able to point that out and say, yeah, don't do that. And it's nice to be able to just say, like, I mean, I think in one of these chats I just said, I don't like that solution. And it's just like, okay, I'll try a different thing. Like, I don't even need to provide any context. I just say, I don't like it. And it comes up with something different. So that's very nice. Cool. Well, I hope you all enjoyed the stream. I'm going to be going and getting myself some lunch now. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. Very much appreciate that. Again, Gunforged is available for sale. So if you're interested, please check that out. That's a great way to support my work. And yeah, I might be doing a stream at some point this weekend, so you can hit the notification bell if you want to be notified. I don't typically have like a scheduled stream for the weekend. So, you know, you'll just have to be notified if I go live. Otherwise, we'll be back at it Monday at 10 a.m. So yeah. Also check out my Udemy courses, by the way. Those are available for sale as well. Everything's linked in the description below, so definitely give that a look. All right, thanks again, everyone. Have a good weekend. And if I don't stream this weekend, I will talk to you on Monday. All right, bye-bye, everyone.